Thank you for tuning in to LeadDeveloper.com, where we simplify complex property development feasibilities, investment analysis, and everything real estate. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our Google Sheets-based feasibility suite streamlines the toughest aspects of real estate. Lead Developer Feasibility Suite is trusted by thousands in over 17 countries. Our tools cover everything from quick assessments to detailed cash flow projections and more. Sign up today at LeadDeveloper.com for unlimited free access to our expanding library of real estate tools. No credit card needed. Plus, get full support through Edge with step-by-step guidance, exclusive courses, and resources designed for your success. Turn numbers into narratives that win over investors and lenders. Join Lead Developer now.
All right, let's jump into property development. We got a lot of requests to deep dive into Amber Khanna's property development blueprint. And
yeah, it's a fascinating read.
it is.
I mean, especially coming from someone with such an interesting background. Like, he was in textiles before he built a $65 million property portfolio, right?
Yeah, and now he's laying out his system, how he did it.
Exactly.
So we're going to break down the key parts of it so you can decide if his strategy is right for you.
Sounds good.
So right off the bat, Khanna goes after those big property development myths, the ones that make it feel impossible to even think about getting started.
You know, like, you need to be a millionaire just to start.
Even get in the game.
Yeah, or that you need to have like a Rolodex full of connections. You know?
Hey, all the right people.
Exactly.
You can feel like some kind of exclusive club, right?
Right. It's like, oh, property development's just for the elite. But Khanna debunks all that with real-world examples. Like, he built 2 townhouses in Ringwood, and he started with only $105,000.
Wow, that's certainly not the millions we hear about.
Right. Way more attainable.
Yeah. And what about that connections myth? Like, surely you need some insider knowledge, right?
Well, it's funny. Khanna actually came to Australia with no industry contacts at all.
Really?
Yeah, he had to build his network from scratch.
Wow.
He says that what really matters is having a system, you know, like checklists, processes, clear strategies. That's what helped him navigate the complexities of development.
Yeah. So it's like he's saying, don't wait for luck. Create your own opportunities through knowledge and planning.
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually leads right into another big part of his blueprint, the mindset.
So he doesn't just focus on numbers and permits and stuff.
No, not just the technical stuff. He actually argues that your mindset is just as crucial as your financial plan.
Interesting.
You know, he talks about the need for things like commitment, being comfortable with a bit of risk, and
Uncertain.
yes, embracing uncertainty. He's got this one quote that I just love. He says, "Circumstances don't make a man, they only reveal him to himself."
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a deep one.
It is, isn't it?
So he's saying that property development is like a
Personal journey.
journey of self-discovery.
Exactly. You know, you got to grow and adapt along the way.
Okay, so where does the actual how-to come in? Does he have like a step-by-step process or something?
It does. He lays out a very specific 10-step process for property development.
Ooh, okay. So that's where the rubber meets the road, the practical, actionable steps.
That's it. He breaks it down into manageable chunks so it doesn't feel overwhelming.
Okay, let's hear about these 10 steps. What's the first thing aspiring developers need to focus on?
Well, it all starts with due diligence and site selection. I mean, you can't build anything without the right location.
Of course, of course. So how does Khanna approach this part? I mean, does he have any like unique insights or something?
He does. He uses this really interesting concept called the property clock for analyzing locations.
A property clock. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
Well, picture a clock face, right? And that represents the property market cycle.
Okay, got it.
So different points on the clock correspond to different stages of the market: booming, plateauing, declining, recovering. And Khanna says understanding where a location sits on that clock is key for timing your entry.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about finding any piece of land. It's about being strategic with your timing.
Exactly. You want to ride the wave of appreciation, not get caught in a downturn.
That makes a lot of sense.
He also goes really deep into the nitty-gritty of site selection. Like, he doesn't just stop at the usual advice, good schools, transport links. He talks about zoning regulations, overlays, the site's orientation.
Oh, wow. That's getting pretty specific.
It is. He even talks about things like potential objections from neighbors. He wants you to anticipate every possible challenge.
So it's not just about avoiding problems. It's about uncovering hidden opportunities.
That's exactly it. He explains how zoning can sometimes allow you to build more units than you initially thought, maximizing the site's potential.
Wow, that's interesting. I always thought those zoning maps with all the colors and symbols were really intimidating.
They can be.
But it sounds like kind of breaks down these complex concepts into
Manageable pieces.
manageable pieces, right?
Yeah, he makes it easy to understand, even if you don't have a background in real estate.
So we found the perfect location. We've analyzed the site. We're feeling good. What's the next step?
Now it's time to assess financial feasibility. Time to crunch the numbers. And this is where that quote about circumstances revealing a man to himself really comes into play,
Yeah, because the numbers can be a reality check, right?
They can be brutal. And that's why Kana says you got to be brutally honest with yourself about your financial situation.
That's good advice.
He's got this mantra. The price you pay for the development site will determine your profit margin.
So if you overpay for the land, you're already squeezing your profit from the start.
Exactly. He suggests working backward from your desired profit margin to determine the max price you can pay for the land. He actually has this tool called the 2-Minute Feaso Smart Calculator to help you do that.
A 2-minute Feaso Smart Calculator. That sounds interesting.
It is. You just plug in your estimated costs, your desired profit, and it tells you the maximum land price you can afford.
Okay, so you can quickly assess deals and avoid those emotional purchases.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of those early calculations.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But even with a great deal on the land, you still need financing, right? And development loans, they're not exactly the same as like a regular mortgage.
Nope, not at all. They're a whole different ballgame.
So how does Kana navigate that part of the process?
Well, he breaks down the complexities of development finance. He talks about the different stages of lending, land acquisition, construction, then the retail loan.
Okay, yeah.
And he also talks about something called developer equity contribution. Basically, it's how much money you, the developer, are putting into the project.
So it's about showing the lenders that you're serious, that you've got skin in the game.
Yeah, you're not just hoping for a handout. And that's why a strong financial feasibility study is so important.
Like it's your resume for the lenders.
Exactly. It shows them you understand the financials, that you can manage risk.
Okay, so we've done our due diligence, crunched the numbers, secured our financing. Now we're finally ready to buy the land, right? But I imagine there's more to it than just signing a contract.
There is. Kana talks about choosing the right financial entity for the purchase, whether it's as an individual, partnership company, or even a trust.
Okay, so there's some legal and financial considerations there.
Definitely. And he also stresses the importance of negotiation skills, to secure the best price for the land.
So it's not just about finding a property. It's about structuring the deal in a way that minimizes risk, maximizes your advantage.
Exactly. And he actually suggests sharing your financial feasibility study with the seller sometimes.
Oh, really? Why would you do that?
Well, it shows them you're a serious buyer with a solid plan. It can build trust and create a win-win situation.
So you're being transparent, showing them that you're not just trying to lowball them.
Exactly.
Okay, that's an interesting approach. So what happens after we've secured the land? What's next in Kana's 10-step process?
Next comes the fun part: obtaining permits and marketing.
Okay, so two very different worlds, but both crucial for a successful development project. What are some of the hurdles developers face with permits?
Well, you got to really understand the zoning regulations and overlays that apply to your site. Kana is a big believer in working with consultants, like architects and town planners.
So having a team of experts to navigate those complexities.
Yeah, they can help you make sure your development ticks all the boxes. He also talks about potential objections from neighbors, which can really derail a project.
Yeah, those can be tricky.
They can, but a good town planner can anticipate them and address them proactively. Like, they might use things like shadow diagrams to show the minimal impact of the development.
So it's about being transparent, engaging with the community.
Exactly. And speaking of engaging, let's not forget about marketing.
Ah, yes, marketing. You can't just build it and expect people to come, right?
Especially in today's market. Kana highlights the importance of pre-sales.
Pre-sales.
Yeah, selling units off the plan to secure financing and show market demand.
Oh.
He talks about using high-quality renders, material boards, digital marketing, all that.
So it's all about selling a lifestyle, an aspiration, even before the physical product exists.
That's it. And those renders better be good, especially if you're selling high-end properties, People want to see what they're buying into.
Makes sense. Those visuals are powerful.
They are. All right, so we've got our permits, our pre-sales, and now it's time for the main event, construction.
The big show. So what are some key things developers need to know about this phase?
First and foremost, choosing the right builder is critical.
Right, because you're basically entrusting them with your entire project.
Exactly. Kana says you need to look at their track record, their financial stability, their ability to deliver on time and within budget.
So it's not just about finding the cheapest bid. It's about finding a builder you can trust.
Yeah, a partner who shares your vision for the project. He also talks about the tender process.
Tender process.
Basically, getting bids from different builders.
Ah.
He gives tips on managing that process effectively, and he stresses understanding construction costs.
Yeah, those can get out of control quickly if you're not careful.
They can. He says you need to break down the costs for each stage, to track progress and identify potential issues early on.
So being proactive, not just reactive.
Exactly. And even with the best planning, unexpected challenges can pop up.
Right, because construction's full of surprises, right?
Always.
Yeah.
So Kana recommends having a contingency plan.
Like a financial cushion for those unexpected bumps in the road.
That's it. He also talks about understanding the defect's liability period.
Now, that's something I haven't heard of.
It's basically the time frame after construction when the builder is still responsible for fixing any defects that pop up.
Ah, okay. So it's a way to protect yourself and ensure quality construction.
Exactly. It's an important safeguard. All right, we've covered a lot, from site selection and financing all the way to construction. But what about the end goal? What about the prize?
Yeah, that's what we're all here for, right? What does Kana say about reaping the rewards of all this hard work?
Well, he says that if you followed the process properly, you should be in a position to enjoy significant financial rewards.
Nice.
And you have options, You can sell for a profit, hold for long-term growth and cash flow, or even do a combination of both.
So the strategy depends on your individual goals and risk tolerance.
Exactly. And he introduces this really interesting concept called the equity acceleration strategy, but we can dive into that after a short break.
Ooh, hold on to your hats, listeners. We'll be right back with more from the Property Development Blueprint after this. We're back and ready to dive into Kana's equity acceleration strategy. It's all about building wealth through property development, right?
Exactly. And it's an 8-step process, so it's laid out pretty clearly.
Oh, okay, I like that. Clear and actionable.
Yep.
So where does it all start?
Well, like any good property strategy, it all begins with location.
Of course. Location, location, location.
Right. And Kana emphasizes choosing areas with high growth potential, places that will attract buyers and tenants, drive up demand and value.
So you're riding that wave of appreciation.
Exactly. You want to be in a market that's on the upswing. Okay, step 2 is all about getting a good deal, buying below market value.
The art of the bargain.
Yeah, and this is where your due diligence skills really come in handy. Plus, some savvy negotiation tactics.
Right, because the price you pay for the land really sets the stage for the whole project.
It does. Remember that tool we talked about earlier, the 2-minute Feaso Smart Calculator?
Yeah, the one that helps you determine the maximum price you can pay for the land.
That's it. That's a key part of step 2.
Okay, so you're using that to make sure you're not overpaying and squeezing your profit margin.
Exactly. All right, so you've got your prime location. You snagged a great deal on the land. Now what?
Time to build, right?
Time to add value. Step 3 is all about development. This could be anything from building townhouses on a vacant lot to subdividing a larger property or even renovating an existing building.
So you're taking that raw land and transforming it into something more desirable, more valuable.
Exactly. You're not just passively waiting for the market to do its thing. You're actively driving appreciation.
I like that. Taking control, being proactive.
That's the key. And once the development's done, step 4 is all about generating cash flow.
Okay, so now we're talking about rental income.
You got it. Rent out those newly created properties. New properties often command higher rents, attract good tenants, create a steady income stream.
So you're setting up a revenue engine right from the start.
Exactly. And that leads us to step 5, where the equity acceleration really kicks in. Refinance.
Refinance. Okay, explain how this works.
So your development's complete, the properties are rented out, they're generating income. Now you can get them revalued.
And that higher valuation, because of the value you've added, allows you to
refinance your loans. You get a lower loan-to-value ratio, which unlocks more borrowing power.
So you can access some of that equity you've built up.
Exactly. And that brings us to step 6. Extract your initial deposit and reinvest it.
So you're pulling out some of that equity, hopefully enough to cover your initial investment, and then using it to fuel your next project.
That's the beauty of it. It's a cycle that lets you scale up your portfolio much faster than traditional buy and hold strategies.
Like a snowball effect. Each project fuels the next.
Exactly. And step 7, Rinse and repeat.
I love it. So find another great location, secure a good deal, add value, generate cash flow, refinance, extract, reinvest.
That's the system. Kana suggests aiming for a portfolio of at least 10 properties within 10 years.
That's ambitious.
Yeah.
But it seems achievable with this strategy.
It is achievable if you're committed and you follow the process. And then finally, step 8, enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Ah, the payoff.
After 10 years of consistent effort, you consider selling half your portfolio. Use those proceeds to pay off the mortgages on the remaining half.
So you end up with, what, 5 properties, completely debt-free?
5 properties generating passive income with no mortgage payments.
Wow. If you've chosen your locations well, that's a pretty sweet setup.
It is. That's the goal, right? Financial freedom, options for the future.
It's inspiring. But let's be real, property development isn't for everyone. It's not for the faint of heart.
That's true. It takes a certain mindset, a willingness to take risks, a commitment to learning.
But for those who are up for the challenge, Kana's blueprint provides a pretty solid roadmap.
It does. It breaks down this complex world into manageable steps.
And I like how he emphasizes the mindset, the psychology of being a successful developer.
Yeah, he goes beyond just the technical stuff. He gives practical advice, real-world stories, even some tough love to keep you motivated.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired, but maybe a bit intimidated, where would you suggest they start?
Honestly, I think Kana's example of that 2-townhouse development in Ringwood is a great place to begin.
Yeah, the one he started with just over $100,000.
That one. It shows you don't need millions to get started. Start small, build your confidence, and gradually scale up.
So it's about taking that first step, investing in your knowledge, surrounding yourself with the right people.
Exactly. And there are so many resources available to help you. Books, courses, mentors, online communities, all sorts of things.
So no excuses.
No excuses. If you're serious about it, there's a path for you.
I love that. All right, well, we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive. Debunked myths, explored Kana's 10-step process, and even dug into his equity acceleration strategy.
It's been a great overview of his blueprint.
It has. And hopefully, it's given our listeners a better understanding of what property development really entails.
And maybe sparked some ideas for their own real estate journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up completely, there's one final aspect of Kana's blueprint that I think is really important to highlight. He talks about finding your big enough WHY, that driving force behind your goals.
Yes, the purpose behind it all.
Right, because it's not just about the money or the properties. It's about what those things represent for you.
What motivates you?
Exactly. Is it about creating a legacy for your family, achieving financial freedom, making a positive impact on your community?
Whatever your WHY is, let it be the fuel that keeps you going when things get tough,
Because property development can be a roller coaster, right?
It can. But if you have a strong WHY, it can help you weather those ups and downs.
I love that. So, as we conclude our deep dive into Amber Kana's property development blueprint, I want you to picture yourself 10 years from now. You've successfully built a portfolio of properties using his strategies. What does that look and feel like? What kind of life have you created for yourself?
That's a great question to ponder. Let that vision be your guide as you explore this exciting world.
And remember, it all starts with that first step and a belief in yourself.
You can do it.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. That equity acceleration strategy is really something else. It kind of turns traditional property investing on its head.
It does, doesn't it?
But kind of doesn't just stop at the strategy, right?
Yeah.
He also talks about how to approach property development safely and for long-term success.
Yeah, he's all about minimizing risk and maximizing returns.
And a big part of that, it seems, is having a system in place.
Absolutely.
He talks about that a lot, doesn't he?
He does. It's like a core part of his whole philosophy.
It's interesting. He actually shares a story about attending those expensive property seminars.
Oh, yeah, the ones that promise you the world.
Yeah. And he felt like they were missing something.
Like they tell you what to do.
Yeah, the what?
But not the how.
The how, right. Like how to actually make it happen.
Exactly. And that's what he set out to create a system that bridges that gap.
So a step-by-step roadmap that goes beyond theory and gives you the practical guidance.
That's it. He calls it his property development system.
And it sounds like he's really passionate about making property development accessible.
Yeah.
To more people.
Yeah, he wants to empower first-time developers, give them the tools to succeed without feeling overwhelmed.
I like that. So what are some of the key elements of this system?
Well, he focuses on breaking down complex concepts into smaller steps, explaining things in plain language.
So it's easy to understand even if you're not a real estate expert.
Exactly. And he includes practical tools,
Yeah.
templates, checklists, all that good stuff.
So it's not just theory. It's about having those resources to put the theory into action.
Exactly. And he's a big advocate for using technology, too.
Well, interesting. How does technology fit into all of this?
Well, he talks about tools that can help you analyze sites, estimate costs, manage projects, even market your properties online.
So leveraging those digital tools to make the whole process more efficient, more data-driven.
That's the idea.
Okay, so for our listeners who want to dive deeper into Kana's property development system, where can they find out more?
He actually offers an online training program that goes really deep into his system.
Oh, cool. So it's like having a virtual mentor guiding you through the process.
Exactly. It includes video modules, resources, tools, the whole works.
Sounds like a great resource for anyone who's serious about this.
It is.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today, exploring the key insights from Amber Kana's property development blueprint.
We have debunked some myths, explored his 10-step process, his equity acceleration strategy, and even touched on his property development system.
It's been a fascinating deep dive into the world of property development.
I agree.
And as we wrap up, I just want to leave our listeners with one final thought. Kana talks about the importance of having a big enough WHY, that driving force that fuels your journey.
Yeah, that purpose behind it all.
So what's your WHY? What motivates you to explore property development? Is it creating a legacy for your family, achieving financial freedom, making a difference in your community?
Whatever it is, let that be your guiding star. Let it keep you focused and motivated.
Because property development, it's a journey, right? There's going to be challenges, there's going to be triumphs, and having a strong WHY can make all the difference.
It can. It's what keeps you going when things get tough.
Well said. So to all our listeners out there, remember, it all starts with a single step. Take that step, invest in yourself, and embrace the exciting journey of property development.
And remember, we're here to support you along the way.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.